6'3". He works out now. He's down to like, he's been working out. He went from like 300 pounds to 242 or something like that. So he's been working out doing keto. And like, he's able to still keep a masculine frame in various other ways. So this one thing he does where he's a little more emotional, it doesn't outweigh the 5 or 6 other things he does that display more masculine traits. Versus if you're a guy who's overly emotional and you're also soft-spoken and you're also not able to stand up for yourself and you're also shorter than her and all these other things, then you're now showing more feminine characteristics. And so that means the odds of you being attractive to women who are looking for more masculine characteristics is going to decrease significantly, okay? So I got a few articles here that I just wanted to go over, guys, briefly that I researched over the weekend that kind of give you some ideas of studies of stuff that show kind of what I'm talking about, okay? So for this first one, it's a study done from Griffith University in Queensland, which is in Australia. And the study was aimed at testing how important physical strength is to men's bodily attractiveness. So what they did was they took a bunch of headless photos of guys where they just saw their torsos and, you know, their strength, their muscles and 6 packs and whatever, okay? And so they did a survey of 160 women, okay? Of the 160 women surveyed, not one single one found the unmuscled bodies more, not one found the unmuscled bodies less attractive. Yeah. We weren't surprised that women found physically strong men attractive. What did surprise us was just how powerful the effect was, said the lead author, Aaron Stell. Our data couldn't find even a single woman that preferred weaker or feminine male bodies. Okay. So what they're saying here is that there's, you know, even a woman that'll talk to you and say, oh, you know, I like a slender guy or, you know, whatever. I like big teddy bear guys. The survey here is saying 160, and that's not necessarily a big pool, but 160 women all saying that they like a muscular bodies. That should tell you something about this thing where, you know, again, the thing about it's okay for a man to, you know, have a more feminine body mass or whatever. It's like you can listen to that and try to live in that, but the reality is that is not the truth. The reality is that muscular bodies typically tend to be more attractive because they show off more masculinity. So that's one study. There was another study here from Psychology Today. And, this was the interesting one. So this is the one where it said researchers identified 2 factors that women take into account when assessing a potential sexual partner. First is the relationship of a short-term or a long-term nature? And second, is she likely to become pregnant? Now, this was fascinating to me because this is a study that actually said that it said, let's see, reproduction is much more costly for women. Thus, women need to be particularly selective when it comes to choosing a mate. Aside from a man's resources, his genetic gifts are decisive in the selection process. The thinking goes that in our ancestors' harsher environment, a hardy constitution went a long way in advancing evolution's ultimate aims, which is survival and reproduction. So what I found fascinating here was, depending on the time of the month, like it said, during peak levels of fertility, they prefer more masculine men versus like during less fertile phases for women, they're drawn to more feminine and compassionate men. Now, some of you will hear that and say, aha, see, women do like feminine men at times and ones that are more compassionate. And you'd be correct. But then let's scroll down to the end of the study where they talk about how they said there was a final part where they tested where in terms of women that are single and are looking for sperm donors, what traits are they looking for in their sperm donor that would be most pleasing to them for children? And lo and behold, the guys that typically had the more masculine frame and showed off more masculine characteristics were the ones who they would more likely choose to be their sperm donor because they want their potential kids, who could potentially also be boys, to have masculine traits as well, okay? So you got to keep that in mind that even though there might be a fluctuation in, like, again, the intensity of what they need, whether it's like, I need a really strong masculine man or I just need a guy that's going to cuddle, the overall choice for women in terms of choosing is going to be guys that more often than not have characteristics that are more masculine in nature for the betterment of their potential offspring, okay? So those are just a few studies that I saw. And then there was a really good article, which we're going to get into now in terms of like, okay, so if women are looking for more traits, for men that are going to show more masculine traits, what are some of those traits and how can you actually be a guy that's able to demonstrate these things? And so there was a great article on this site called getawingman.com. I know, it's so it's a masculine title, people. So, but they had a study. Not a study. They went through 8 scientifically proven traits based on various studies that showed these are the things that women find attractive. Here is why, and then I'm going to explain to you things that you could do to better show off these traits. Because ultimately, like I said, you're going to win a lot more if you're able to be a guy that's able to demonstrate to women that you have the type of masculinity that most women are looking for. Okay. So the first one they said was, of course, height. This should be no surprise to any guy, especially short guys, or like I'm 5'9.5", and I have women that have still expressed it like, oh, I want a guy that's like 6'1", 6'2". So 2014 research conducted by professors at Rice University and the University of Northern Texas found that out of around 1,000 Yahoo personal dating ads, nearly 50% of women claimed that they prefer to date a man who's taller than they were. A group of researchers from the University of Utah published a study which puts forth the idea that a woman's preference for taller men actually dates back to our caveman days, surprise, surprise, in a time and age where physical protection of her and her potential offspring was integral to a woman. She would have been evolutionarily geared to gravitate towards taller men who had a clear advantage in a confrontation. Now, again, this is proof that in terms of what women find masculine, that height is a very big indicator. Now, with that said, I do happen to know guys that I went to school with who were like 5'7", 5'8", who married women who were like 5'10" to 6 feet. Okay. So, but to point that out, the article also says that there are ways that you can actually, things that you can do to, if not be that tall, give the illusion of being that tall. And it's not like wearing high heels or tall boots and stuff like that. But for example, having good posture and being upright, and then also being like a confident guy, that can make you seem taller than you normally are. Because I mean, we know women are looking at the physical, but men typically tend to be more like precise and analytical. Like, oh well, she wants short, tall guys, and I'm like exactly 5'7". But you could be a 5'7" guy that has a 6'1" attitude, and that can trump the height thing. Because again, it's not just women are looking for like one particular thing. There are a multitude of things that you can do to show off masculinity, and you don't have to have them all to still appear masculine. But a guy that's able to have good posture, your spine's upright and you hold your head up high, then that can be a way to make women attracted to you, even if you're not that tall of a guy. And then, of course, the other option is always to go after shorter women. If you're a 5'7" guy, there are plenty of women out there that are 5'6" and shorter. So that's another thing to consider. But, we typically tend to be a little less picky in the height area than they are. So this is just telling you guys what they are traditionally attracted to in terms of seeming like you're a more masculine guy. So that's the first thing. Another thing that they said was a scientifically proven trait that women find attractive in men is, surprisingly, face stubble. A group of Australian researchers from the University of New South Wales conducted a survey with over 350 women on their preference for male facial hair, and the overwhelming majority agreed that a bit of stubble was the way to go. Now, I did an experiment. It wasn't an experiment. Last year, I went on a road trip for 30 days, like around the country, and I decided as long as I'm on the road, I'm just not going to shave. So I started off a nice, clean-shaven man, and when I got back a month later, I had a full beard. And when I got back into town, there were just friends of mine who were women that I hadn't seen in a month, and I went to go hang out with them, and it was like they looked at me completely different, like, oh my God, that beard really makes you look so attractive, like you're so handsome. And I was like, and these are women that I've known for years that, I've worn an occasional nice suit and gotten those kind of compliments, but this is the first time where like I'm in a regular shirt and some jeans, and they're coming up to me like, man, your face looks so good and whatnot. So I just learned from personal experience that, oh my God, having facial hair is great. And most women that I've talked to said on average, they like the 5 o'clock stubble. Like, I got to the point where I had the homeless beard going and I had to kind of shave it down. But like just having like this kind of facial hair right here, this is usually enough to get a woman's motors running. Okay. So what you can do is you can grow out your hair a little bit, just kind of keep it like this. And then when it starts to get a little wily or whatever, you can just shave it down. You can set your clippers to a setting where it won't cut off all the hair, but it's enough to constantly have a 5 o'clock shadow. And then also, if you're a guy that can't grow facial hair, because some guys are like that, when I was in high school, I didn't have any facial hair either. But the school that I went to, because they required men to shave every day, what I learned was that when you do that, you start to kind of awaken these hair nerves here. And over time, it went from like, I had no hair to I had a little bit of hair to like I had regular facial hair that I was having to cut every 3 weeks. So it's something as simple as trying to just train your face to like grow hair. And sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't, but it's good to at least try that out, you know? But yeah, it's been shown, it says experts in human evolutionary psychology even claim that from an evolutionary standpoint, men with a bit of stubble would have been considered more dominant, more aggressive, and more socially mature, which are all masculine traits that women find attractive, okay? Another thing that they say on this study here was having a deep voice is actually a very, very attractive thing to women, because according to a bunch of researchers from the University College in London, it's because women perceive a deeper voice as a sign of a larger and stronger physically man, something that women are emotionally geared to find attractive. So, yeah. So if you're a guy that talks like this might be hurting you in the department of getting women, and you don't want to do that. So a few things you can do. You can start trying to learn to talk from your diaphragm. I went to college for theater and I did a lot of musical theater. And one of the things they taught us was like, in order to sing at a deeper register, you want to really more so talk from here versus talking from your throat. And a lot of guys talk from here, which is by default going to sound more nasally, and it's going to sound less attractive to women. Okay. So you can practice that. You can also sign up for voice lessons. It's great to sign up for like singing lessons or vocal lessons where they'll actually teach you how to regulate your voice, how to modulate it in a way to where you talk in a deeper register on a regular part of the time, okay? So another trait that women find attractive is, of course, an athletic body. And this does not mean you have to be a bodybuilder, okay? You could be running, it could be lifting weights, it could be just taking care of yourself. But researchers have found that of all the body shapes out there for men, women in general seem to prefer the V shape, which is like, you know, you're muscular up here, you're tight up here, then you kind of like narrow, slim down as you go down. And if you've seen like a lot of cartoons where they have like the buff guy, it's very exaggerated, but you'll see like their top part's like a big triangle with muscles, and then like their legs are really, really skinny. That should tell you that that is a thing that typically women do find attractive, okay? So now, if you're not a guy that's like that, like obviously I'm very much like this in terms of my body frame, but there are things that you can do in order to still make your body stand out to women. This means obviously you could be working out, you could start running, you could start lifting weights, but you can also wear clothes that will visually enhance your body. This means wearing things that are fitted. You can wear things like blazers that'll make your shoulders look broader. You can wear V-necks that'll make your torso look slimmer. For those of you guys that are a little bigger, you can wear vertical stripes that'll make you look like you're slimming down more. But these things visually will still make a woman feel like you have a desirable kind of body, okay? Another thing that is scientifically proven to attract women is moving slower. Now, interestingly, researchers have found that men who have slower movements and speech are often perceived as more at ease, confident, and thus more attractive. Now, as you guys listen to this program, you've been with me for a while, you know I tend to talk very, very fast. And so, I'm very cognizant of that even when I'm thinking slow, I'm still probably talking faster than most people. But with that said, because I know that, when I go on those first few dates, I'm very, very intentional on slowing my speech down and kind of just not even trying to say a whole lot of words, because I'm really trying to make sure she's saying more than I am. But I'm very conscious of like when I do say stuff to be very, I can't think of words like, it's not particular, but being very choosy and very direct in what I'm trying to say. So I know going in, okay, I'm about to say this thing. Let me say this thing. And I say it at a nice paced out rhythm. This also goes for things like walking. I'm a very, very fast walker. But again, on those first few dates, I make it a point to try to, at the very least, slow down my walking and keep my pace. Okay. And so, but yeah, those are things that make you look more confident, look more at ease, make a woman think like, oh, this guy must really know himself and be confident and assured, because his mannerisms are just so like fluid and effortless. And it's not like he's making a lot of mistakes when he's moving around and stuff like that. And so, yeah, practice doing things in a more deliberate manner. Talk slower in conversation. When you do make your moves, make sure that they're, I don't want to say graceful, but make sure that they're poignant, that you're making moves with a specific purpose, not just, hey, then how are you doing? Oh my God. Like that looks very uncontrolled, and it looks like a person that doesn't know or is confident in what they want. Okay. Another thing women find attractive, which we've heard time and time again, is being funny. Researchers from Northumbria University claimed that humans perceive a good sense of humor as a sign of both intellect and social intelligence. Women are evolutionarily geared to respond to signs of intelligence and social intelligence as an attraction factor. The logic behind this being that an intelligent man would be better able to provide for and protect the woman and her potential offspring. Okay, so this is why it's important to have a sense of humor, not take things so seriously, because those kind of guys look like guys to women that are intelligent. And if you're intelligent, you're going to know how to navigate social situations. You're going to know how to, like, the best moves to make to be able to support the family and whatnot. Okay, so it goes beyond just what we guys see as surface stuff. Like, why I got to be funny? Do I need to be a comedian? It's like, it's not about that. It's always about deeper levels for women. Okay, and so what you can do is you can study comedies. Start looking at movies that are funny movies, looking at stand-up comedians, just so you can get an idea of the kind of language and wordplay that makes people laugh and that women will potentially find funny. You can also do things like join an improv class. I know even in COVID, they have online improv classes you can take. And the nice thing about improv is it teaches you how to be funny on the fly. So it goes from being this odd thing that you don't know how to do to being a natural part of who you are when you are going out there talking to women. Okay. See, another thing that's important is having social value. And this is important because, the research carried out in 2010 from Duke University asked a group of heterosexual volunteers to rate the attractiveness of men and women who were photographed by themselves, and then a second group to judge those same men and women, but this time they were paired with a person of the opposite sex, who the volunteers were told that was their exes. And they found that the men and women who were photographed next to a hot ex were almost always rated as more attractive, okay? And so because women are social people in general, they're typically going to want a guy that is able to navigate in social situations. Now, you as an introvert might say, but Harry, I don't always want to be in social situations, but that does not mean you can't display that crap. So what you can do is, for one, have pictures on your social media where you're hanging out with friends and family. Okay. You can, when you're on a date with a woman, you can tell stories of times that you were hanging out with your friends and family and doing fun things. That way she knows that you're not just a loner guy that doesn't know how to socialize and just hangs at home all the time. And also, when you're meeting women in social situations, say at like a party or a gathering or get together, make it a point to let these women see you interacting with other people before you talk to them. That way they know, oh, I'm cool to talk to this guy because it will just be me and him talking all the time. He has other friends that he talks to. So this now verifies that he is in fact an okay guy to talk to. Okay. And then the last thing is leadership skills. Okay. So this study said, imagine yourself living in the days of caveman ancestors when we used to hunt woolly mammoths for dinner and fight off saber-toothed tigers every other Sunday. In such an environment, a cave woman's best chance at survival and raising a healthy bunch of cave babies would be to have been to get with the caveman that led the group. In 2014, researchers found that people who are part of a specific group were much more likely to find the group's leader attractive than people who weren't in the group. For example, employees at a particular firm were found to be more likely to find the firm's CEO attractive than people outside the firm would, okay? And so men that are leaders indicate that they know how to lead a family, they know how to survive, and they exude these masculine traits that you must have in order to even be a leader in the first place. Negotiation, being a strong person that's staunch in their opinions and stuff like that. And so if you want to be a guy that's like that, it's as simple as you can either try to be more ambitious, meaning, you try to start your own company or be your own boss, or even if you're not trying to go that route, be a person that's able to make decisions. When you ask a girl out on a date, stop asking her what she wants to do. Just that simple action of like, hey, I want to take you on a date. I want to do this date at such a day, such a time. That alone will put you ahead of 90% of guys out there who are sitting there like, well, I want to let you decide and I want to negotiate and I want to, talk it out with you, because you're now giving off a trait that women really like, which is they're going to read as more masculine. Okay. So overall, the best news that you can get with the idea of like women, quote unquote, being the same or liking the same things is that it becomes a lot easier to attract them, because you don't have to try to think of like a new way to attract every single woman you come across. If you know the general things that overall women find attractive and you know how to display those things, then in terms of the actual dance of getting the woman attracted to you, it's just a simple matter of like, okay, let me find out a process that's going to work and then just do that every time. And the women that I've gotten with over the years, whether it's been through online dating, whether it's been through personal meetups, I've used the same method time and time again to attract them in terms of my approach, in terms of asking them out on dates, and in terms of the dates that I decide to go on. And I've had very, very positive results where they haven't to change too much. Okay. And this is, by the way, this is for sane women. I want to reiterate that, is that sane women typically like the same types of things. The ones that are like the outliers that are like, well, that get really mad if you don't call for 4 days, or, other various things, or, they're going to be the ones that are typically, you don't want to get with them anyway. Okay. So as a generality, the things that I talked about in this show today are things that as a whole, women typically tend to like. So concentrate on those things, start trying to really figure out what ways you can exude more masculinity, and you'll start to find that women will come to you and want to date you. So that was a lot to cover, wasn't it? But anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm going to check the chats. There was a lot of chatting going on, but I just had to get all that out today because it was important. Yes, that's so many people. Okay. New voice lessons though. Yeah. The voice thing for me too. Like the hard thing was like really slowing down my speech. Cause like, even when I'm talking like this to me sounds slow, and I know it's not, but it sounds to me slow. So it's the challenge for me has always been to really get my voice tempo down to where it's more desirable. And that has helped significantly when I've been dating, because women understand me better and they just find that, attractive, coupled with the deeper voice, of course. So, but yeah. So anyway, that's all I got for today's show, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to hear for more of these shows, you can check us out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at protestparty.tv. You can also find replays of this at introvertdatingsuccess.com, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, any place where you can find podcasts, you can probably find the show. If you're a guy that's looking for one-on-one coaching, you can go to the website and click on the coaching tab. If you have a topic you'd like me to discuss on one of these shows, you can click on the contact tab at the website or write me at harrywilmington@gmail.com. Go to the website now also to check out previews of some of my popular ebooks, including my book, No Girls For You, The Ultimate Guide to Losing the Girl of Your Dreams. And that book actually I wrote as a result of recognizing that I was doing a lot of the stuff I mentioned in today's show and realizing, I need a guide on what not to do so I can start doing more of the right stuff. So it's a great book. You can read the first chapter of that for free simply by going to the website, filling out your name and email address, and it will be delivered to you today. All right. So thank you for tuning in. Catch us again on Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Be sure to go to Protest Party TV to send some lovely tips and also to get some of their cool merchandise. And yeah, I will check you guys out on the next show. All right. I'm out. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Introvert Dating Success Podcast. Visit us at introvertdatingsuccess.com for more great tips on attracting women using your natural introvert charm. Oh, yeah.